have no doubt that we will rebuild Britain with wealth created in every community, our NHS back on its feet facing the future, secure borders, safer streets, everyone treated with dignity and respect at work, the opportunity of clean British power cutting your energy bills for good. And brick by brick, we will rebuild the infrastructure of opportunity.
I know that people are frustrated by the state of Britain, frustrated by politics, and some people frustrated with me. I know I have my doubters, and I know I need to prove them wrong, and I will.
On the morning of July 4th, 2024, Keir Starmer walked through the black door of 10 Downing Street with the kind of majority that prime ministers dream about. Labour had over 400 of the 650 parliamentary seats. 14 years of Conservative government was over. The country, exhausted and frayed, seemed to sigh in relief. But relief, it turns out, is a very thin foundation on which to build a government. Starmer had campaigned on a simple, repeated promise: delivery, change. A government that would finally fix Britain's broken public services, cut NHS waiting lists, build more homes, stop the migrant boats crossing the English Channel. He presented himself as the antidote to conservative disorder: competent, serious, steady. And early on, the public was willing to believe him. Polls gave Labour a commanding lead. Even those who did not particularly like Starmer thought he was at least capable. But even at the height of his popularity in 2024, a survey found that 49% of voters already thought he might be indecisive. And as it turns out, that number would prove to matter. Within 100 days of taking office, his poll lead had collapsed. By July 2025, just 1 year into his government, the mood inside and outside Westminster had curdled badly. The Economist noted that Britain was stuck in its longest period of economic stagnation since the 1930s, that the cost of servicing debt as a share of GDP was the highest since 1987, and that trust in government had fallen to a 40-year low. The policies that cut through to ordinary voters were not the ones Labour wanted them to notice. Cuts to the winter fuel allowance, reductions to disability and sickness benefits, harsh immigration reforms. These dominated the headlines, while popular achievements, including a firm posture toward Donald Trump and meaningful progress on climate, went largely unnoticed. This was not bad luck. It was, critics argued, a communications failure of the First Order. And then came the Welfare Rebellion. On the 1st of July 2025, Labour MPs gutted a bill to cut sickness and disability benefits in a huge parliamentary revolt. In the House of Commons the next day, Chancellor Rachel Reeves wept at the dispatch box. Yields on British government bonds surged. The Economist reported that the reforms, always cosmetic, had been designed to claw back just £5.5 billion in annual savings from an expected £66 billion by 2030. And even that had now been undone.
Welcome to BA Flight.
What made this so damaging was not the policy itself, but what it revealed about the man at the top. Starmer had built his reputation on a willingness to make hard choices. Here, faced with pushback, he had backed down, and in doing so, destroyed his credibility.
My position on the Iran war has been clear from the start.
By the spring of 2026, the language around Keir Starmer had shifted from concern to something far harsher. Commentators were calling him a dead man walking. A piece published in mid-February 2026 noted that polls had placed his approval rating at the lowest recorded for any British Prime Minister since 1977. The final months of his authority were a sequence of escalating crises. His decision to appoint Peter Mandelson as UK ambassador to the United States had generated a scandal when the closeness of Mandelson's connections to Jeffrey Epstein became public. Local elections across England in early May 2026 were, by any measure, a catastrophe. Labour lost control of more than 30 councils and saw around 1,500 councillors defeated. Voters had not shifted to one alternative. They had scattered, fleeing left to the Greens and Right to Reform UK, the insurgent party led by Nigel Farage. On Monday, the 12th of May, 2026, Starmer gave a speech to Labour colleagues that he hoped would arrest the collapse.
The election results last week were tough, very tough. We lost some brilliant Labour representatives. That hurts, and it should hurt. I get it. I feel it. And I take responsibility.
Analysts at the Eurasia Group were not moved. Starmer's attempt to quell a rebellion against his leadership has failed. Although he may remain a few more months in Downing Street, he is still fighting for his political life after his make-or-break speech earlier. Monday did not include enough new policies to satisfy many Labour MPs. By Tuesday, the 13th of May, 4 ministers had resigned from the government. Miatta Van Bulla, Alex Davies-Jones, Jess Phillips, and Zubair Ahmed. In her resignation letter, Jess Phillips, who had served as Minister for Safeguarding, wrote words that landed with particular force across Westminster, because almost no Labour MP could say they were surprised by them. "I think you are a good man fundamentally, who cares about the right things. However, I have seen firsthand how that is not enough. The desire not to have an argument means we rarely make an argument, leaving opportunities for progress stalled and delayed." By that point, 92 Labour MPs had publicly called on Starmer to quit. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood was among the most prominent. The trade union and Labour Party liaison organization, representing 11 unions including Unite, Unison, and GMB, declared that Starmer could not lead the party into the next general election. And yet, as of mid-May 2026, Starmer had not gone. Britain's revolving door of prime ministers no longer feels like political change. It feels like political paralysis. From Theresa May to Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak, and now perhaps even Keir Starmer, each leader arrives promising stability and leaves swallowed by the same mess. The bigger question now might be whether modern Britain has become fundamentally ungovernable. A general election must be held by August the 15th, 2029. Whoever leads Labour into that campaign will inherit a party that has spent much of its time in government fighting with itself, a public that was promised delivery and felt instead only frustration, and a political moment in which, as The Economist warned, a Labour Party that chooses popularity over hard reforms will end up with neither. Keir Starmer won a landslide. He walked into Downing Street on a wave of hope. He promised to be different. By the spring of 2026, much of his own party had concluded that he had not been different enough. The argument now was not whether he would go, but when, and whether whoever came next could do what he could not, persuade more and disappoint less.